Impact segment tonight, more challenges for President Obama. Tonight he's here in New York City, again raising money for political campaigns, even though all hell is breaking loose in the Middle East and in Ukraine. Joining us now from Washington, FNC Chief White House Correspondent Ed Henry. I said this last week, I'll say it again tonight. This fundraising business in the face of intense situations like the border last week and now what we have today makes President Obama look bad. But he doesn't seem to care. He doesn't seem to care. Am I wrong?
It's hard to argue with the imagery of this, because last week it was Texas. As you say, he was fundraising, said, I'm not going to go to the border, and said, well, I'm not interested in photo ops. Well, what did he do today as this crisis was unfolding? A photo op with a single mom in Delaware who wrote him a letter about her plight, then an event there in Delaware to push for highway funding, which was basically a photo op in front of a port. And so he continues to do that. And why is he doing it? Well, think back to where this week started, that massive Wall Street Journal front page story that listed all the crises around the world, and it said, there was a news story, not a column, and it said American global power seems to not be at its top strength right now. And I asked Josh Earnest about it, the new press secretary. What did he say? It's tranquil. Some of the president's policies have made the world more tranquil. Well, maybe that's why he thinks he can fundraise.
Yeah, in Iceland, maybe, tonight, that's possible. Maybe that Finland, it's tranquil. But look, I continue to believe, and I want you to tell me if I'm wrong, because you know him better than I know him. He doesn't give a hoot anymore, Henry. He doesn't care what people think about him. He's going to do what he wants to do. He's here at an apartment on the Upper West Side, charging $32,000 a head to go in there and, take a photo with them. And then he's going back to Washington. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Kerry, who does care what people think of him, canceled an event he had scheduled in front of a Jewish group tonight because of the invasion of Gaza. Right.
Look, the president could have sent Vice President Biden to these fundraisers. He could have sent Valerie Jarrett. He could have sent the First Lady. He could have said, look,
they never get that kind of money. With all due respect, he couldn't do that. But get back to my question. He doesn't care what people think about him anymore, Henry.
I don't think he does care about the criticism. I think he cares about being president. I do think he cares about being commander-in-chief. But yes, he doesn't care about the criticism. He thinks that the people going off on him about fundraising and the like miss the fact that he's playing the long game on immigration reform and all these other issues. But there are these crises that just keep popping up day after day after day. And when he continues to kind of push off the criticism, it looks like maybe he doesn't care. And you're right, he's getting closer and closer to being a lame duck. Once these midterms come up in November, especially if he loses control of the Senate to Republicans, he's going to be that much closer to a lame duck.
The other thing attached to this is that I do not believe President Obama feels the United States has an obligation to right wrongs in the world. So the Malaysia jetliner gets popped. Okay. Now, if it turns out 23 Americans are on board, then the whole thing goes bigger. But he doesn't feel like we should do anything to Putin because Putin is responsible for this, which he is. And the same thing in Gaza. He doesn't think that the United States should get involved. Let the Israelis and the Palestinians and Hamas sort it out. I mean, that's the way
he does have limited options with the Israelis and the Palestinians, and I think I would push back harder in terms of, sure, I agree with you about he doesn't care about the criticism, but he does care about America trying to step in on some of these things. I mean, why was it that the president was touting this week that we stepped in to fix this Afghan election and try to make sure the security gains are not wasted?
Because American troops are there. It's a different situation.
Yesterday, he sanctioned Russia again. Now, I agree with you that Putin, it hasn't changed his behavior much, but to suggest that the president just doesn't care and doesn't think America has any ability to change events at all, he's trying on the sanctions. I just frankly don't think Putin cares very much.